A break in a murder case in Atascosa County. Details on the suspect, how he was arrested this morning.
And new details about a deadly crash that had roads on the north side shut down for hours. Why police say weather did play a part.
And after some rain to start the day, there are more showers and storms in the forecast today and even into Thursday. I'll have the latest radar and your full forecast coming up.
Live from KSAT 12, the news at noon starts right now.
New this noon, the latest on a murder investigation in Atascosa County. The sheriff says that they have arrested a suspect there.
Ashton Garcia arrested by police in Jourdanton around 4:30 this morning. He was wanted in connection with the death of John Martin Alaniz. The sheriff's office says Alaniz was shot and killed on the 900 block of Horton Lane in Poteet back on August 30th. Garcia is also facing several other charges for previous unrelated incidents.
New details this noon on the aftermath of an argument on the northwest side that left a man nursing a stab wound. Police tell us they are looking for a 17-year-old in the case. Officers say that the teen got into a fight last night with a 39-year-old man. It happened at a home in the 1300 block of Ruiz, that's near North Zarzamora. The victim told police that after the fight, he went to his room. However, the suspect then forced his way in and stabbed the man in the arm. He was taken to the hospital. When police got to the scene, they found the victim, but not the suspect. He's facing an aggravated assault charge with a deadly weapon.
San Antonio police may be on their own when it comes to finding the person who shot two women on the east side, killing one. The shooting happened overnight on Ferris Avenue near Martin Luther King Drive. And as Katrina Weber reports, investigators have had a tough time finding willing witnesses.
San Antonio police showed up in this east side neighborhood around midnight after someone called them about gunshots in the 500 block of Ferris Avenue. But they say officers were left to figure out everything else. They found a 36-year-old woman already dead from gunshot wounds. A second woman, police say, walked up claiming to know her. They found out that she also had been shot in her upper body. The 31-year-old was rushed to a hospital in critical condition. They say she refused to tell them anything about the shooter. However, police believe that she and the woman who was killed were not alone when they were shot, that they were with a group of people hanging out outside what neighbors say is an abandoned home.
The police say when they got here, they saw several people leaving this area, but they all denied seeing or knowing anything about what happened.
They say they found shell casings from two different guns at the scene, and behind a nearby house, they found a gun. They did not find the shooters, and with no help from any witnesses, it seems they may have to rely on their own investigative skills to solve this. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
The latest now on a deadly crash on the north side. It was caused by wet roads. That's according to police who tell us that two drivers hydroplaned on the north side, setting off a chain reaction wreck. The crash happened around 6 a.m. in the westbound lanes of Loop 1604 near Stone Oak Parkway. That's near Highway 281. Police say the roads were wet after it rained and at least one driver lost control, crashing. Multiple drivers then got involved, and it's not clear yet how many. The driver who first lost control was killed in the crash. We're waiting to learn that 26-year-old man's name. The area shut down, as we said, several hours as police investigated. And police tell us a motorcyclist was speeding before another deadly crash. Officers say that the motorcyclist was riding his bike on Nacogdoches near Judson last night on the northeast side. When he stopped at a light, a driver next to him started revving their engine. Well, the motorcyclist followed suit, and then both drivers sped off when the light turned green. But just ahead of them was a minivan that was turning onto a street just off of Nacogdoches. The motorcyclist hit that van, and the motorcyclist was pronounced dead at the scene. No one else was hurt. Police have not yet released the dead person's name.
A pair of unrelated robberies remain unsolved this noon. Now police are releasing surveillance images, hoping to gain some leads. In this case, police say the suspect broke into a home and then robbed a person who was inside. It happened on August 11th on Action Lane in Pecan Valley. That's on the southeast side. Officers say the suspect pulled a gun on the victim and demanded money. The suspect took off in a blue car. And in a different robbery case, officers are looking for this man. They tell us he walked into a 7-Eleven on Hildebrand and I-10 back on August 27th. Police say he pointed a gun at a worker as he demanded cash from the register. The suspect then ran off. If you know something that can help police solve either of these cases, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP.
If you live in Kendall County and you see a lot of emergency vehicles around, don't worry, it is probably a training exercise. The sheriff's office says it's conducting a large joint training exercise right now. That training started around 8 in the morning and it's expected to continue until 5 this afternoon. That's happening in the 1000 block of East Blanco Road. So you will notice an increase in law enforcement, fire, and emergency medical services in that area. Agencies from neighboring cities will also be taking part. New at noon, Attorney General Ken Paxton warning Texans about a text message scam. It involves a false package delivery notice and a fraudulent link. The text messages usually claim that there's a package pending delivery, and it asks that you claim ownership by providing the credit card and personal information for it. If you receive this message, though, don't click on any links. In fact, don't respond, share, or give out any personal or financial information. Instead, delete the message and block the number. You're also asked to report the phone number and message to the Office of the Attorney General or the Federal Trade Commission. As a reminder, shipping companies will not contact you via text about issues with a package.
Local health officials reporting 1 new death and 193 new cases of COVID-19 here in Bexar County.
However, there are less COVID patients in local hospitals. They gave us an update last night after the Labor Day holiday. Right now, the 7-day average is 183 cases per day. Our positivity rate dropping to 6.7%, and we've seen a 2-week decline in cases. That's according to Metro Health. There are 304 people hospitalized in Bexar County with the virus, which is the lowest it's been since June 18th. Metro Health says if there is an increase in cases from Labor Day, we'll probably see them in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Meanwhile, the race to a coronavirus vaccine continues. However, pharmaceutical giant AstraZeneca has put its phase 3 vaccine trial on hold due to an unexplained illness in a study participant.
It is not uncommon in large vaccine trials, but it does slow things down a bit. As CNN's Nick Valencia reports, it will lead to questions about other trials.
A major setback in the race for a vaccine. AstraZeneca paused its late-stage trials Tuesday due to an unexplained illness in one of its volunteers.
The news that there was a serious adverse reaction that halted the trial of one of the most promising vaccines, one that we've heard a lot about, is exactly why you have to take things carefully with vaccines. They're not toys.
The delay, the same day 9 top drug makers pledged they will not submit a vaccine for approval until it's proven to be safe and efficient. The nation's top infectious disease expert also emphasized why it's essential to have the public's confidence in the science.
We've got to regain the trust of the community about when we say something is safe and effective, they can be confident that it is safe and effective. And that's the reason why we have to be very transparent with the data as well as what it is that goes into the decision-making process about approving a vaccine.
Despite President Donald Trump's repeated claims, Dr. Anthony Fauci once again says not to count on having a vaccine available by Election Day.
It's not impossible, but it's unlikely that we'll have a definitive answer at that time, more likely by the end of the year.
The realities of the pandemic making the start of the fall semester difficult on many college campuses. West Virginia University moving most undergraduate classes on its main campus online through September 25th. 377 students there testing positive between July 20th and Monday. And at San Diego State, a cluster of nearly 400 confirmed cases. As over 1.8 million more children returned to public school this week, some who started the year online in districts from Houston to Hartford faced major technical difficulties. And the number of children testing positive for the coronavirus continues to rise. The American Academy of Pediatrics says more than 500,000 children have been diagnosed since states began recording infections.
Coming up, how the coaches at UTSA are dealing with positive COVID-19 tests. Larry Ramirez has that in a few minutes in sport.
Catholic Charities is celebrating a 1-year anniversary. It's for the initiative they had to start, how the pandemic forced the organization to change to meet the needs of our area. Catholic Charities celebrating an anniversary today, marking 1 year since they opened the St. Stephen's Care Center.
The center includes a clothes closet and a food pantry. People are able to pick up the things that they need for free when they need a helping hand. The goal is to give people a boost until they can help themselves. Catholic Charities says they've had to change the way they operate due to the pandemic. However, they're still able to help several hundred people each week.
We have now people doing drive-thrus outside, and it has been huge. The demand for services, the demand for food, has increased every week. So we see the numbers. We started maybe with 400 people at the first week. Now we have 4,700 people who come here on a weekly basis.
The center is located in the 2100 block of South Zarzamora. It's operating as a drive-through program. You can get more information on the Catholic Charities website. And if you want to donate, you drop off food each weekday from 8:30 in the morning till 5 in the evening.
Pop quiz for everybody.
Ooh, really?
Did you wake up at 2:30 in the morning to thunder and lightning as I did?
A lot of people did. A lot of people maybe when the flash flood warning alert went off on their phone.
That too.
That got a lot of us. Yeah, we had some rain overnight and very early this morning. A bit of a break over the past few hours in and around San Antonio, but shower activity starting to pick up again as we head into the afternoon. The aquifer is responding to some recent rains up in the recharge zone. It's up a bit more than half a foot in the past 24 hours, and we should see it go up even more by tomorrow. In today's pollen count, fall elm is actually our problem allergen. It's high. Mold is moderate, but it's a pretty safe bet that mold will be a bit higher as we get into the day tomorrow. So we're going to talk about this front that's trying to approach I-35 and your rain chances for the next couple of days coming up.
There's nothing worse than a pop quiz except failing the pop quiz.
Well, I have another.
I wasn't up at 2:30 this morning,
weren't?
so I guess 3:30, but not 2:30. So
I'm going to have it. Well, you're up in Spring Branch.
Yeah.
I was close to downtown.
Well,
Here's
great.
another overshare. I love sleeping in the morning when it's raining like that. And
That's nice.
I didn't get up till like 9:15 this morning. Just snoozed right through it.
It has been good sleeping weather, that is for sure. And a welcome change after what was such a hot, dry summer for us here. Here's a look at satellite and radar. Plenty of clouds out there, especially west of 35, and a good batch of rain trying to work in from the west as well. Across other parts of Texas, a lot of rain up in North Texas to the I-20 corridor, even up into the Central Plains. So here's kind of the big picture setup. We've got a nice upper level low that has dropped down over the Four Corners region. That is providing a lot of lift off to the east through Texas and the central portion of the plains, getting that shower and thunderstorm activity going. A bit farther down, closer to the surface, that low has produced a frontal boundary that's draped through Oklahoma and portions of Texas. This frontal boundary running in to the I-35 corridor this afternoon. Look at this huge spread in temperatures across the state. They're at 90 in Houston, 81 here in the Alamo City, 50s from San Angelo up to Abilene, 38 in Amarillo, so a huge spread in temperatures as this frontal boundary tries to move through the Lone Star State. As we get into this evening and tomorrow, that frontal boundary is expected to approach and move just east of the I-35 corridor, stalling out a bit during the day tomorrow. So we're going to actually see our highest chances of rain coming, I think, late this afternoon into this evening, but even into the day on Thursday, we'll keep some chances of some scattered showers and storms around. Your rainfall potential all the way through Saturday morning here. Some nice totals expected along and west of the I-35 corridor. A lot of places along and west of 35, including parts of San Antonio and Bexar County. In that purple and red color, anywhere from about 2 to 5 inches of rain will be possible, with a few localized totals a bit higher than that. So while the rain is welcome, it can be too much too quickly in some cases. And so because of that, a flash flood watch has been issued through 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. What does this mean? Some localized flash flooding issues will be possible, and we've already started to see a little bit of that off to the west today. It looks like we just popped back up to 86. We were down to 81. Our temperature kind of all over the place with the cloud cover and the rain that we've had around today. I think this will probably end up being the warmest that we are today. We should start to see our temperatures fall down into the low 80s with some rain moving in over the next few hours. Frontal boundary itself should start to approach San Antonio later this evening. And after that, that's when we'll see our temperatures drop down into the low 70s, eventually the 60s overnight tonight. So look at this. It's a beautiful sight on Doppler radar. Some scattered showers moving generally from south to north across the area. There are a couple of lightning strikes being detected off closer to Gonzales there in northern Gonzales County, approaching I-10. All the activity here in town, just some passing heavy rain moving on through. We do have some more widespread rain off to the west of 35. So I mentioned a flash flood watch is out until tomorrow afternoon. We have a couple of flash flood warnings in place at this time. One for Edwards County until 2 o'clock this afternoon. There have been some flash flooding reported out in portions of Edwards County in and around Rock Springs. Up farther to the north, Gillespie County, eastern portion of Gillespie County until 12:30. So time is almost up on that flash flood warning, but I think we could see a couple more flash flood warnings across the area later today into tonight as this heavy rain kind of lingers. So Futurecast doing a pretty good job, I think. As we get into the afternoon hours, we'll have more scattered to widespread showers and storms around, and even tonight some lingering shower and thunderstorm activity as that frontal boundary washes out to the east of 35. Tomorrow, best chances of rain will come during the first part of the day. As we get into tomorrow afternoon, we should start to see our rainfall coverage drop, but we'll hold on to a good amount of cloud cover for your Thursday as well. So that's what we're looking at in terms of precipitation. Temperatures, we've already got a pretty big spread. 81 here, it's 62 in Del Rio, 61 up in Rock Springs. Yes, they've had some rain, but that frontal boundary has moved through some of our westernmost communities. And today into this evening, it's going to approach I-35. Looks like it will pump the brakes tomorrow just to the east of the I-35 corridor, and that should create a pretty big spread in temperatures tomorrow. Much cooler off to the west. If you're down on the coastal bend closer to the Gulf Coast, you'll see temperatures likely in the upper 70s, near 80 tomorrow. We're going to go mid-70s here in San Antonio, but should drop into the low 60s tonight through tomorrow morning. So this is good news. A little bit of a cool down, more so for our folks off to the west than what we'll see here in San Antonio, but the rain is great.
More good sleeping weather.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we'll see you late to work tomorrow?
Yeah, sorry. Don't tell the boss.
I won't. We've had a couple of good weeks of high school football, so laid down a pretty good marker so far. Now it's time for NFL and college to start kicking in, huh?
Yeah, after this crazy offseason, the Houston Texans are certainly ready to get after it tomorrow night. J.J. Watt is pretty amped up to get after Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Plus, in college football, Texas State Bobcats, their depth chart will probably look a little different because they're getting some much-needed help coming up.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
The Houston Texans will kick off the 2020 NFL season tomorrow night at Kansas City to face the defending Super Bowl champions led by Patrick Mahomes. The Texans are 9-point underdogs in their playoff rematch that ended their season last year. And after the offseason was altered dramatically by the COVID-19 pandemic, J.J. Watt and the Texans are loving the fact it's finally game week.
It's very exciting. And, you start building up that adrenaline, that excitement. You've fallen into your game week routine. There's a sense of normalcy that necessarily hasn't been there, the whole time. And we're really excited about that. And I think the guys can feel it, and you can start to feel it. Guys locking in, getting focused, everything kind of falling into that game week routine. And we're excited. We're excited to give the fans a show. We're excited to put that product on the field, and we're excited to compete.
Kick is tomorrow night at 7:20. Watt needs one sack to become the first Texans player with a sack in 9 different seasons. UTSA head coach Jeff Traylor will make his Roadrunners debut this Saturday when the football team kicks off their 10th season against Texas State in San Marcos. On Monday, Traylor told us his team had been hit pretty hard with results from not only positive COVID tests, but also antibody tests, which are now required by Conference USA in order for players to be cleared to play. Coach Traylor revealed how many have been affected.
The issue that's got everybody a little confused right now is when they made the rule about the antibodies. So anybody that has any antibodies in your system, you have to now also go get EKG, you got to get with a cardiologist, you got to get heart issues cleaned up as well before you can be cleared to play. So, we had 13 kids that were unable to practice today, but we're hoping 9 of them will be able to play Saturday. So you can imagine what that's like as far as organizing a practice.
Kickoff on Saturday is set for 2:30 p.m. and the game will be on national TV on ESPN2. Now, UTSA and Texas State are meeting for the 4th time on the gridiron. The Roadrunners have won the 3 previous matchups with the Bobcats. Texas State is coming off a season-opening loss to SMU 31-24. 4 players missed that game while being quarantined after contact tracing. Those 4 guys, including former MacArthur quarterback Tyler Vitt, are back with the team, as reported by the Austin American-Statesman. LeBron James and the Lakers are moving and grooving on the court, and now they lead the Rockets 2-1 in that playoff series. Last night's game featured 15 ties, 16 lead changes, with the Lakers coming out on top 112-102. LeBron had 36 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 blocked shots. The triumph gave James his NBA record 162nd postseason victory, surpassing former Lakers guard Derek Fisher's 161.
And to know that I sit at the top of the most wins for any individual, it is very humbling, and it's something I never dreamed of. I never came into the league or as a kid saying I want to be number one in playoff wins. I've always said I wanted to be a part of a winning culture and be a winning player and do whatever it takes to help my teammates win.
Lakers lead the Rockets 2-1 in the West semifinals, and in the East semis, the Heat beat the Bucks 103-94 to win the series 4-1, knocking off number 1 Milwaukee.
A lot of wins, still not as many championships as Tim Duncan, though.
Exactly.
I'd like to point that out. Thanks, Larry. The U.S. withdrawing more troops that are stationed overseas. How many people will be coming home this month? Coming up.
Coronavirus affecting our everyday lives, and holidays won't be immune. How one major city is already changing the way Halloween is celebrated. After days of protests against the Rochester Police Department in light of the death of Daniel Prude, its top officer and its deputy announcing they're retiring from the force. Along with the police chief, 6 other department leaders announcing they will be vacating their roles as well. ABC's Trevor Ault has the latest.
Protesters here in Rochester have been calling for the police chief to resign, but these sweeping step-downs certainly came as a shock. The mayor breaking the news to city council over a Zoom briefing that was streaming live. She said she had only found out moments before. Police Chief LaRon Singletary and at least 6 top members of his command staff all abruptly leaving their positions. The mayor and city council blindsided by the news. Council President Loretta Scott told me it was unexpected.
I didn't know that it was going to happen.
Chief Singletary had been weathering calls for his resignation since disturbing body camera footage was released last week. It shows Daniel Prude's fatal encounter with police that happened nearly 6 months prior. Officers say Prude at the time was spitting at them. They covered his face with a hood. They later pinned his head to the ground, and Prude's death has been ruled a homicide. Well, last week, Mayor Lovely Warren said the chief had misled her about this case. She claimed she had only been told Prude's death was the result of a drug overdose. That's a charge the chief disputed. He said that he had only provided factual information at the time back in March and also throughout the investigation. In a statement announcing his retirement, he wrote, "The events over the past week were an attempt to destroy his character and integrity." Now, many of the protesters say this is a positive step that the chief and the command staff here in Rochester have stepped down from their positions, but they are not satisfied. They continue to protest last night, and they say they will continue to take to the streets until the officers involved in Daniel Prude's death face charges. Trevor Ault, ABC News, Rochester, New York.
The Department of Justice looking to intervene in a defamation lawsuit against President Donald Trump over his denial of a rape allegation by journalist Jean Carroll. Carroll claimed the president sexually assaulted her in a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room back in the 1990s. Last year, Carroll sued President Trump for allegedly defaming her after he told media outlets that she was lying about the allegations. In a court filing, the DOJ argued President Trump was, quote, acting within the scope of his office at the time. It is moving the court to substitute the United States for Trump as the defendant in the lawsuit.
Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has been nominated for the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize. It's for his effort to help establish formal relations between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. President Trump was nominated by a member of the Norwegian parliament who commended him for helping to resolve conflicts worldwide. He also praised the president for playing, quote, a key role in facilitating contact between conflicting parties, end quote.
The United States moving forward and will be withdrawing 2,200 troops from Iraq this month. The U.S. commander in the Middle East made the announcement today. That leaves roughly 3,000 troops in Iraq. Central Commander General Frank McKenzie said, quote, allows us to continue advising and assisting our Iraqi partners in rooting out the final remnants of ISIS in Iraq, end quote.
Nearly 200 fires are burning right now on the West Coast, and 24 of them are in California alone.
The Creek Fire is burning an area the size of New York City's Central Park every half hour.
UBC's Rena Roy is in San Francisco, where she says parts of Washington and Oregon are also fighting massive fires.
High winds and thick billowing smoke continuing to engulf large parts of California. Nearly 14,000 firefighters are battling the flames, trying to get things under control.
We're in the middle of all those houses that are fully engulfed.
Just south of Big Sur, more than a dozen firefighters overrun by the Dolan fire when it doubled in size, forced to take shelter in fire blankets. 3 were airlifted to a nearby hospital, 1 in critical condition.
These dedicated firefighters received injuries, including burns and smoke inhalation.
The Navy and National Guard completing risky rescue missions, safely escorting more than 160 trapped by the fire, including Joe Ebright and his sons on a backpacking trip.
I kept thinking about my wife and family at home, and I knew that they would be very nervous and worried for us. So being able to talk to them was a huge relief.
In Central California, the Creek Fire is racing through the mountains, now spanning more than 150,000 acres. To the south, crews up against the El Dorado Fire in San Bernardino County are trying to protect one community by clearing brush to create a dead spot for the raging flames.
It just adds an extra barrier between us and the fire, because if you look at where we live, there is no barrier.
Oregon and Washington also hit hard. Urgent evacuations are underway. You can see choppers dropping retardant in an attempt to contain the flames. In Oregon, more than 360,000 acres have now burned, that number doubling overnight in just 9 hours. Rena Roy, ABC News, San Francisco.
Outside with live cam, those folks in California could probably use some of that rain we're getting here in Texas. We're getting a lot of it.
Yes, we're kind of making up for some lost time over the summer, and it is good to see the rain, but there is going to be the potential later today, even into tonight, that you could get too much rain too quickly, and that could lead to some localized flash flooding issues. And we're going to take a look at who's under a flash flood watch coming up in just a bit. Here's the time lapse starting at 6 a.m. this morning. We did start off the day with some rain, and like Ursula said, that does make for some good sleeping weather. More of that on the way this evening and tonight. 80 at the airport now. It looks like we've got a shower moving over the airport right now that has dropped the temperature a bit. Looks like it right there between 410 and 1604 on the north side. We've also got several other downpours across portions of Bexar County and the KSAT viewing area. These are pacing off to the north at a pretty good clip. We've got a couple of lightning strikes here and there, but no severe weather in terms of damaging winds or hail or anything like that. Our concern, as I mentioned, is going to be for some localized flash flooding the rest of the day today and into tonight. Take a look at these temperatures. 89 in Pleasanton, mid-90s down closer to the coast. Meanwhile, west of that frontal boundary that is trying to scooch closer to I-35, 61 in Rock Springs, 62 in Del Rio. They've got a northerly wind in place. That's letting us know that that's where that frontal boundary is. So it's not quite to Fredericksburg or Kerrville. You guys still have a south wind in place. But again, that frontal boundary is going to try to make some eastward progress during the day today, and we do expect it to be approaching I-35 and San Antonio later this evening, eventually giving us a north wind and getting a little bit of cooler air filtering in overnight tonight through the start of the day tomorrow. So we'll talk temperatures. There's going to be a big spread temperature-wise out there tonight into tomorrow, and also how much more rain you can expect over the next couple of days coming up in just a bit. David?
Hey, Katie. Also coming up in a few minutes, a look ahead to Friday night, Bulldogs and Bobcats. Larry Mears has a preview of the Marion Comfort matchup.
The spookiest holiday of the year is going to look different for folks in California. The changes being implemented after the break.
Apple holding a big event next week where many expect the company to reveal the iPhone 12 with full 5G capabilities. There have been questions for months about whether the pandemic-related supply chain issues would delay its release. The iPhone 12 would be the first iPhone to connect to the new ultra-fast wireless network. Some tech analysts say next week's event will primarily focus on new Apple Watch and iPad models. Apple plans to stream the event next Tuesday, September 15th.
Microsoft just announced a smaller, cheaper Xbox ahead of the holiday season. The company says the Xbox Series S will cost just $300. That puts it at the same price as the Nintendo Switch. Microsoft didn't announce a release date for the Series S, but it is also planning to release its bigger, more expensive Xbox Series X in November. However, the company hasn't said what the price of the X will be.
Have you ever wanted to experience a zombie apocalypse? Well, in October, you'll have the chance to shoot a zombie with a paintball gun in an interactive zombie hunt. Zombie Safari Dallas will be open every Friday and Saturday in October from 7 to 10. Tickets start at $10 for spectators or $25 for the shooter, which includes one ride on the zombie response vehicle and 100 rounds to shoot. Zombie Safari Dallas, located at 8975 Farm to Market Road, 740 in Forney.
Now that's over in the Dallas area, but
Right.
many popular Halloween festivities like trick-or-treating are not going to be allowed in Los Angeles this year due to the pandemic. The LA County Department of Public Health said in a news release that it would be very difficult to maintain social distancing on porches and at front doors. So the guidance is banning so-called trunk-or-treating events from cars and gatherings or parties with non-household members. There's also no carnival, no festivals, no live entertainment, and no haunted house attractives. Wah, wah, wah.
Still lots of candy, though. Got to be lots of candy.
You can buy your own candy. That's never going to change. And you can still get pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
Ooh,
for
please.
Katie.
PSL's not canceled. There's already the Halloween candy at the grocery store, so just go get it. Start early. Why not?
PSL.
We deserve it. Pumpkin spice latte. Come on, David. Come on, David. All right, the aquifer is already up a good bit more than half a foot in the past 24 hours with today's rain. We should see another nice increase tomorrow. Something else that will probably also increase tomorrow is mold. It's moderate today, but I expect we'll see a big jump in the mold count as we get into the day on Thursday. Another look at radar and what you can expect rain and temperature-wise for the rest of the day coming up next. Welcome back. Let's take another look at your forecast. Well, we will definitely take a few inches of rain over the next few days. That's for sure. Through Saturday morning, some communities west of 35, along and west of 35, could see 2 to 5 inches of rain. Some localized totals will be a bit higher than that, maybe up to around 7-8 inches of rain. But it is possible that some of this rain could fall too quickly, and that could lead to some localized flash flooding issues. We've already seen a bit of that this morning and early this afternoon. So flash flood watches out until 1 p.m. Thursday. What does this mean? Several inches of rain could create some localized flash flooding issues anywhere from San Antonio and Bexar County up into the Hill Country, because that's where we do expect the highest rainfall totals over the next few days. Even just over the past 12 hours, we've got a couple of nice bullseyes here, especially in northern Valverde, northern Edwards counties, also in Blanco and eastern Gillespie counties. Radar indicating anywhere from about 2 to 4 inches of rain have fallen in those areas where you see the orange color there just over the past 12 hours. So from our morning shower and thunderstorm activity. There was a flash flood warning for eastern Gillespie County there just east of Fredericksburg. That has been allowed to expire. That's some good news, but we do still have one flash flood warning in place for northern Edwards County, including Rock Springs. That's going to be in place until 2 p.m. this evening. There have been some reports of some high water spots in and around Rock Springs, so do keep that in mind if you're out in northern Edwards County. Do try to stay home and off the roads if you can, as all that water runs off and gets to its proper spot. So the more widespread rain does look to be still west of 35, closer to that frontal boundary this afternoon, but out ahead of it, we've got some nice downpours pacing off to the north across a good portion of the area. These are starting to fill in pretty nicely, and they're going to be fairly consistent. So some off and on heavy rain possible as we get into this afternoon and early this evening. Bit more cloud cover off to the west as well. That's creating nice spread in our temperatures. Look what this frontal boundary is doing. They're in the 50s in San Angelo, 48 in Midland, low 60s in Del Rio. We've got a rain-cooled 78 now, but off in East Texas, 85 in Tyler, 90 in Houston. So this front is kind of cutting the Lone Star State in half this afternoon, and we'll continue to see a pretty big spread in our temperatures as we get into the day tomorrow. As this front kind of washes out east of 35, that's still going to keep things very warm. Off to the east, closer to the Houston area, our coastal counties, you'll likely be in the 80s tomorrow here in San Antonio and along 35. We expect a high temperature in the low to mid 70s tomorrow afternoon, and then farther to the west, places that are already starting to see their temperatures drop, you're looking at the 60s, maybe even way out in Valverde County, temperatures in the 50s for a period of time tomorrow. And we're already again starting to see our temperatures fall from Edwards County down to Del Rio and Rock Springs. Elsewhere, warm and humid, 90 in Pleasanton with a bit more sun. But again, we're a rain-cooled 78 here in San Antonio for the time being. The rest of your Wednesday, again, I expect some passing showers and storms to roll through. So essentially a pretty rainy rest of your Wednesday. Temperatures hanging out in the upper 70s, low 80s for the next few hours. Frontal boundary should approach later this evening. That will start to drop our temperatures tonight into the 60s, and we should start off in the low 60s for your Thursday morning. Again, as far as the rainfall goes, I think passing off and on showers and storms for the rest of the day, even some lingering shower and thunderstorm activity overnight. By tomorrow afternoon, things will start to wrap up, but we've got a really good opportunity here today and into the overnight hours to really cash in on some good rain. Again, just keep in mind we could have some localized flash flooding. So have your KSAT weather app handy. It will send you an alert if a warning is issued for your area, and we'll be here to keep you updated. Guys.
Thank you, Katie.
That's a nice look at 61 right there. Nice look at Friday night football and big matchups already.
Yeah, and, hopefully we're going to see Jordan Battles pretty soon playing for Holy Cross. He was denied by the UIL to play football at Judson, so he is now enrolled at Holy Cross High School. Plus, in the NFL, Cowboys' Randy Gregory got himself a nice little contract extension coming up. High school football player Jordan Battles has come full circle. Denied by the UIL yesterday to play athletics at Judson, Battles enrolled at Holy Cross and hit the field yesterday with his Holy Cross teammates. He was last year's 28-6A district MVP, and he's one of the best football players in all the area. Battles tweeted, "I'm home, and for good reason."
This place is home. I was down bad at the time, and when I turned to somebody, this place was already there. So I'll forever love these guys.
This is a tough day for us, but we're mentally strong. We're mentally prepared. I came here. My son's been playing Pop Warner here. This is where he started.
The kid's got a history here. He played Pop Warner with probably half of the kids on the team. It's neat to have him have a chance to get to be with them.
Sometimes it just doesn't work out, and I just told him come back and we'll talk a little bit later. Let the emotions let them go through their emotions, and I told him I'll be here for you to talk to whatever happens and do the best I can to make sure that they get what they need to get.
And running back L.J. Butler was also denied his shot to suit up for Judson. Butler is eligible to return back to Wagner. The big game in our big game coverage features 2 top 6 teams in 12's top 12 sub 5A rankings. Number 5 Marion Bulldogs hosting the number 6 ranked Comfort Bobcats. Both sides are 2-0 with Marion defeating Karn City 14-13 in their adjusted season opener 3 days after the Badgers had to cancel their game against Kennedy due to positive coronavirus tests. And then last week another squeaker 24-23 against Goliad. For the Bobcats, their wins have been a bit more lopsided, opening the season with a 42-0 shutout versus Brackett and a 30-6 victory against Mason.
Just watching film, I know they have no quit in them, so we got to get ready for that. I believe our boys, they're going to push themselves this week.
Okay, we're just feeling good right now with the 2-0 right now. We've been working hard at practice, so all that momentum is really going to help us Friday night.
I know we've had a couple close games, but what our kids have shown is a lot of facing adversity and knowing how to finish, and our kids have done a great job doing that.
Kickoff between the Bulldogs and the Bobcats in Marion this Friday is set for 7:30 p.m. and KSAT 12 Sports will be there.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
In NFL news, the Dallas Cowboys signed Randy Gregory to a 1-year contract extension after he was reinstated by the league. That will have him making up to about $2 million. And it appears the Broncos have lost star defensive player Von Miller for the entire season after he tore a tendon in his ankle on the last play of practice yesterday, according to ESPN. All right, Astros playing the Athletics in a doubleheader yesterday. Game 2, top of the 4th, bases loaded for George Springer. He hits a ground ball to second baseman Tony Kemp, who was able to get the out at first. Carlos Correa scores, ties the game at 4. They would take the lead with a sac fly in the top of the 7th and end their 6-game losing streak. Houston takes Game 2 by the final of 5-4 after they dropped Game 1 4-2, and the Texas Rangers outscored the Angels 7-1 to snap their 6-game slide. Ursula, David?
All right, Larry, thank you much.
You got it.
All right.
It's almost fall, right?
SL.
PSL, pumpkin spice latte.
Yes, please.
He's got it, Katie. And Jen and Fiona, I understand you're going to bring some freshness to this idea.
You know, we're going to try. We're
Yes.
trying to bring in the fall weather with an easy recipe today on SA Live.
We'll share this easy pumpkin spice latte you can make at home, and guess what? You're not going to be disappointed because we tried it and it's amazing. So we have a fun list of pumpkin products, and of course some of them may surprise you. I'm not too sure if I'd be into some of those.
Some of them are a little, ooh, I don't know. And we're counting down to the big give. We're featuring 2 nonprofits, including a rescue that's taking care of some of the smallest and cutest seniors in town.
Oh, and celebrities like Drew Barrymore and Seth Rogen have lined up for his delicious food. We introduce you to a celebrity chef, and he's making a delicious Filipino recipe for you today, so we hope you're hungry.
And the fall menus are taking over restaurants all over town. We're taking you to the Hill Country for a taste of this hotspot, which also happens to be the second oldest bar in Texas.
And as we await the new season, okay, which it's starting to feel like already, yes, okay, we're asking, what are you all looking forward to for fall, besides the cooler weather? What is it?
It's more coffee for me.
The pumpkin spice
warm,
kind,
yes,
right?
Yes, all pumpkin spice. I'm all about it.
All that and more coming up in just a few minutes right here on SA Live.